Next up today, a very rare specimen, Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax, a Silver Hawk Jet Dragon with twin dragon burners, able to transport you at a speed of 760 miles per hour with advanced Elder Dragon coolant. Comes inbuilt with a twinge of the Curio and is a temperament along the sort of might murder you. A fantastic pet and comes house trained to begin with, if you don't mind missiles. Sold to a Mr. Monster Hunter 6!
Can you imagine though?
Hello my fellow monster hunters! How are you enjoying this somber void time twixt now and the eventual form of Monster Hunter 6, whatever that may be? Only one thing is certain, it will be glorious. But it could be a bit more glorious if it definitely made sure to totally include the following monsters that I think have managed to carve a place in Monster Hunter history of status legendary. And by that I mean, I think that Rise Sunbreak has given us a wonderful collection of new monsters. Perhaps the highest average quality of new monsters ever? And that's quite the high accolade. But the thing is, Monster Hunter tends to have a habit of either leaving its best monsters behind, like the final bosses, or kind of forgetting they exist for a while until they eventually make a long-awaited return. And I think Legiacris is still very much in that line, hoping for the best over the next couple of years. But if then I was to choose 5 monsters that are new in Rise and Sunbreak that I believe should immediately join the roster for the next Monster Hunter game, what would they be? I think that's an interesting question, because an easy example from World and Iceborne, the other 5th gen games, is Nergigante. I believe him to be one of the best designed fights just of all time. He is ultra satisfying to learn, he feels great to conquer, and he never gets old. He really is excellently done. So, who are Nergigante level of Rise and Sunbreak? Let's start with a quick honorable mention or two. New Amatsu is obviously unbelievable, but he is a spectacle fight and a final boss that really kind of sinks his ship when it comes to returning, and to be fair, I don't need him to. He was a perfect, grandiose flourish for Sunbreak, but it's not the kind of encounter you want to hunt on repeat, or so instantly again, at least in my mind. It's a satisfying one and done. Then, I also think Risen Elder Dragons as a concept are bloody brilliant. Getting bloody, because like the curious. But of course they are versions of Elder Dragons tied to the story of Sunbreak, so them ever getting another go-around is very unlikely, and I want to keep this to base monsters. Which is also why Primordial Malzeno won't be here, despite it being the best monster in Rise and Sunbreak, at least in my mind, and definitely banging on the door of my top 5 of all time. So with that out the way, who do I want to come and play and play and play? Number 5.
Espinas avast, bringing Frontier back, thought dead and gone. Well, not for long, a flagship you'll learn to love, representing all the monsters who've gone to gog above the hot tub, with a winning smile all the while, so cease and desist, poison, fire, paralysis, reduced to mist as I insist, as I call the meek, now I really need to sleep.
Espinas! This feels like a cheat, because obviously this wasn't, new to Rise and Sunbreak. It's a Frontier monster, one of the OGs, and the Ravalos-esque overall flagship of Frontier, but what he represents is everything, and it is what I want to keep happening going forward, and that is taking the best of Frontier and canonizing it, making it an official member of the main series roster, giving it a real place in the Monster Hunter world that no one can deny. But beyond that, Espinas himself was fantastic. His rendition in Sunbreak was a perfect way to keep to his core while actually, updating him for the game he was going in and for the hunters who will be facing him for the first time. I think he looks great, I think he's got great personality, variety, and I think he's a very satisfying, good level challenge for the time you about get to him when you're facing the sort of apexy flagship type monsters, and I really think he has a lot to offer future Monster Hunter games, and it would be a real shame if this was his like one cameo, as it were, and then we didn't see him or anything else Frontier in the future. So I had to mention him. Next up,
Violet Mizutsune, a rare species, 5 becoming 6 with my own bag of tricks. Gold, silver, lucent, abyssal, molten, so you see the pedigree behind me. Turn and please, fill with glee, just a fire monster. Whee! My spirit is indomitable, my bubble bombs abominable, my color scheme phenomenal, and nothing cleans quite as fast as being reduced to ash.
Violet Mizutsune, and no, I'm not sorry, I will take any excuse to put in my monster intros, because damn it, I have so much fun making them! In any case, I know some are hits to some others misses, but still. In any case, yes, this is one that isn't a base monster, so you might think it's a little bit cheating, but it's a rare species. And they don't get honored enough. Oh, sure, we get silver and gold constantly, but Lucent, Molten, and Abyssal very much didn't get to just keep popping up. Yes, Lucent got another go in Sunbreak, and that was very welcome, but the rare species are such magical monsters. They're such wonderful takes on their base that really paint this picture that's somewhere in the world of Monster Hunter there is a place where Mizutsune just Violet by default. That's the natural Mizutsune in that area and what people know as Mizutsune. Because of course rare species are still just subspecies, they exist in a place, they're just, you know, rare. But also insanely powerful, and I think their whole concept is glorious, and I think they did a ridiculously cool job with Violet. Smashing aside the, oh no, another fire monster, how boring, rhetoric that was going around by having, like, liquid flame as a motif, bubble fire, slippy fire, however you want to describe it, though slippy fire is a great way in my book, it really does give a kind of aesthetic and vibe and feel that other flaming fiery monsters just don't have. You have a creature that is using flammable liquid to move at rapid speeds, cover the arena, encircle you in its pretty blaze. That is such a nice take on a very overused element, and then a giant purple bubble spirit bomb is just a big pièce de résistance, and I really enjoyed it. Following that then,
Garangom, and just you go home. I'm not inherently impressive, I just need to send a message. This turf is mine, and my name is Lord. Fighting you will leave me bored. I got the magma, water, fire, slaughter fist. If you insist, you will be missed. This land is mine, and like Frankenstein, I'm not a monster. I just don't like a hunter imposter.
We have a clean sweep so far for Sunbreak as Garangom takes the next spot. He is an absolute triumph, a proper gorilla-esque creature with that slight little golem theme running through, the armor-plated, the mammalness of him. I really enjoy that. The fire-water mix, you feel his power, and it's nice getting another generally calmer herbivore-esque giant monster that obviously gets too progressive when you enter his territory, but as far as things go, he is just wanting to be left alone, and I always respect that when we get it in a monster's personality, and I just think the way he operates is wonderful. I love his lore, I love his ecology, I love how he uses the sap, how he has a single little flower growing out of him, and he feels very one with his environment, and I definitely think he's a monster you wouldn't be upset to immediately spring back up again. And it does feel mean choosing him without Lunagaron, who, spoiler alert, isn't on this list, but it's just the one that kind of does it for me. He really gave me that first proper, Oh, moment of Sunbreak, and I won't forget that for a while. In second place then, finally, Base Rise gets a look in as we go over to a certain...
I'm Gossarak, the big bad, lovely cool blue with an angry red hue, and I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I chew you and you, chop you in two, on the bones I will chew. I'm the ice bear, hide there out of nowhere. I take my time, savor the fear when I'm near, facing the demon in the snow. You know you've crossed the line, cause this Frost Island, is mine.
Goss, Harag. How could it not be? You knew he would be here. By far the best creation of Base Rise, and one of the best new monsters we've had in a long time, in a very consistently great monster time of Monster Hunter, World and Iceborne, Rise and Sunbreak, all, to be fair, knocked it out of the park, but Gossarak really managed to stand even above most of that. The double ice weaponry is a inspired choice, Frost Breath to form them, fighting with them, hammer, blade, and the way he goes from running on all fours when he's traveling to standing up and then flush red, this sort of berserker bear that is super deadly and intimidating. His special interaction when he stuns you, slowly grinding the weapon towards you for the execute blow. He just oozes coolness, right? And I don't think we've had a monster that's just so purely badass as Gossarak in a long time, and the bears needed a powerful member, and boy did they get it. It is, perhaps in my mind, one of the single greatest shames of Sunbreak that we didn't get a Gossarak subspecies, rare species, alternate version, because I think he was ripe for it, and I really do think that's a missed opportunity, and hopefully if he continues on for a few games, it's an opportunity that will be rectified. Then we move to the number one spot, and it's...
Malzeno! Hello, Curio! It's about time we went blow for blow. A blood-sucking foe, no Frankenstein or werewolf, to dilute the truth that I'm the king of the roost. The citadel into simply hell and no hunter go to waste. I wonder how you both taste. The vampire flagship lord soon to be adored in a beautiful true form. Time to you to wish that you'd never been born.
Malzano! I agonized over this for a while because now Negron really does feel left out of the trio, but the flagship of Sunbreak, while perhaps a basic or obvious choice, is one that still has to be made because ultimately he's freaking phenomenal. A symbiotic vampire dragon that uses blood power energy from his little curio swarm that can drain you in a grab, has the teleport, moves so fast it looks like a teleport, has this vampire style to him, but still that elder dragon regalness that you love them for, or at least I do. I should have presumed about you. You might love elder dragons for their cute little tails. I don't know what I'm saying. And I think he just oozes charm, which is so fitting as the Dracula type figure he's based on. A charming monster, but once you get him to bloodening, you see that beneath the surface, he is this savage, deadly threat, and it really turns up to a notch. Yes, of course, knowing he has Primordial as a form really helps his placement here, but this is where the shocking plot twist comes in! Actual number one, Primordial Malzano! Whoa!
Malzeno, hello, no longer blood-sucking foe. Oh, primordial and cordial, existence allegorical, no more I will. Walk with the curio, so either help me, befriend me, or I'll end thee. Send me to the depths of hell, where archdemon dwell. Watch my power swell as I break the spell. It's the end of Sunbreak, it's been great. But one final fight, Tesher might, for this white knight will go screaming.
Yeah, he was an honorable mention. Yeah, I said base forms only. However, Primordial Malzano is Malzano's base form. The curioed up one we know is actually the variant having been tainted by the curio. You see it start to happen in the Primordial fight. So technically speaking, Primordial Malzeno is base Malzeno. So imagine a world where in Monster Hunter 6, Malzeno makes an immediate return, which I don't think anyone would complain at. However, the Malzeno in that game, because there's no curios, there's no curio storyline, they don't reuse it, of course, is Primordial by default, but now just called Malzeno because that is how Malzeno normally is. That would be such a cool take and switch around, and I think it would be very, very welcome. So, Capcom, that's my pitch. Get on it. For real, though, I think it just would be very, very sweet. Let me know your thoughts then. If you had to pick 5 newly created monsters for Rise and Sunbreak to immediately be in Monster Hunter 6 to get another go straight away because you love them that much, which 5 would get your blessing? Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. And until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.